Good evening and welcome. On behalf of the Florida Department of Transportation, District 6, thank you for joining for the open house for State Road 856, William Lehman Causeway project from King Boulevard to Collins Avenue. I'm Veronica Paredes and I am the Consultant Community Outreach Specialist. I'll be your meeting moderator for tonight. Tonight's meeting has three main components. First, we'll be starting off the open house. If you're here in person, feel free to take a look around at the project materials before the presentation, which begins at 6 p.m. And if you're joining us online, the next few slides will walk you through how to view those same materials and participate in the meeting. Next, after that, we'll have our presentation where you'll learn more about the studies, the goals, and what we're having planned moving forward. And finally, after the presentation, we'll open things up for your comments and questions. So let's go ahead. We'll get started with the open house. And again, the presentation will be at 6 p.m.
meeting for the Project Development and Environment, or PD&E study for the State Road 856, also known as the William Lehman Causeway. This study covers the area from Biscayne Boulevard, US 1, Collins Avenue, A1A. The financial project ID or FPAD number for the project is 449-745-1-22-01, and the Efficient Transportation Decision or ETDM number is 14570. Thank you for being here and taking the time to participate. It's currently at 6 p.m. and my name is Carmen Bermudez. I'm the project manager with the Florida Department of Transportation, District 6. FDOT is hosting this meeting to give you a chance to learn more about the project, understand the study process, and share your feedback. Joining me today are representatives from FDOT and the consultant project team. Now I hand it over to Veronica Paredes, our consultant community outreach specialist, and tonight's meeting moderator to walk you through how you can take part in this meeting.
Thank you, Carmen. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. We're broadcasting live from the Aventura Branch Library. During the meeting, you can participate using any of the options that are shown on the slide. No matter which option you choose, the information presented will be the same and available on the project website. If you're attending virtually, you can watch the presentation on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. You will not be on camera and you will stay muted throughout the meeting, except during the comment period at the end, where you'll have the opportunity to provide your comments and questions. If you dialed in using a regular phone, not a smartphone, you are in listen-only mode, but you can still send us your comments by mail, email, or through the project website. And for those of you that are joining us here tonight in person, you can follow along with the projected presentation. You'll also have a chance to comment at the microphone, or you could provide a written comment form. For attendees joining us virtually, if you happen to experience any technical issues during the meeting, please type the issue in the question box or send an email to lspecian@ardura.com, or you could call 561-701-8921 to report it, and our staff will do their best to assist you. Si necesita traducción durante la reunión, por favor, comunícase con nosotros al 850-786-1095 o por correo electrónico a xpagan@adura.com. Public notice for this meeting, including information on how to access the meeting platform, was provided in letters to property owners and tenants in the project area, a posting in the Florida Administrative Register, and an email to persons on the project contact list. Other notification methods include advertisements in local newspapers and posts to the Florida to DOT's District 6 social media platforms. The meeting information was also added to the project website. The proposed project is being developed in accordance with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Under Title VI, public participation is solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Persons wishing to express concerns relative to the department's compliance with Title VI may do so by contacting Mark Plass, the Title VI coordinator for the Florida Department of Transportation District 6, or Stefan Kulakowski, the state Title VI coordinator for the Florida Department of Transportation Equal Opportunity Office. The environmental review, consultation, and other actions required by applicable federal environmental laws for this project are being or have been carried out by the Florida Department of Transportation pursuant to 23 U.S. Section 327 and a memorandum of understanding that was dated on May 26, 2022, and executed by the Federal Highway Administration and FDOT. The FDOT Office of Environmental Management in Tallahassee is the approving authority. At this time, we would like to recognize any federal, state, county, or city officials who are present tonight. Please come to the microphone if you are attending in person. If you are attending virtually, select the hand feature on the control panel or submit your name, title, and affiliation in the question box, and you will be recognized. Okay, seems like we have one hand raised. Yeah, here you go, Lindsay. Thank you.
Okay, if you are calling from the number 408-203-0588, we have allowed your microphone to be unmuted if you'd like to speak.
Okay. That's fine. Okay, so thank you for your participation in tonight's meeting. I want to hand it back over to Carmen to begin tonight's presentation.
These slides give you a quick look at what we'll be covering today, including where the project is located, why it's needed, and what the PD&E study is all about. This project looks at possible changes to State Road 856, also known as the William Lehman Causeway, to better support people walking, biking, or using other non-motorized ways to get around, like adding shared use paths or dedicated bike and pedestrian facilities. The project includes a bridge that connects the coastal community of Golden Beach and Sunny Isle Beach to the mainland city of Aventura. The project area runs about 1.7 miles from Biscayne Boulevard, US 1, to Collins Avenue, A1A in Miami-Dade County. We would like to highlight the Florida Department of Transportation FDOT Compass Initiative. FDOT is dedicated to maintaining and enhancing the state's infrastructure to meet the needs of both residents and visitors, now and in the future. The department focuses on critical areas like community, safety, resiliency, supply chain, and workplace development to achieve this. FDOT recognizes the unique needs of each community and strives to create a transportation system that improves connectivity, enhances the quality of life, and aligns with the shared community vision. Now, I'll turn it over to Robert Gutierrez, the consultant project manager, who will walk us through the project overview, current status, and next steps.
Thank you, Carmen. The elements of the compass are reflected in the purpose and need of this PD&E study, which focuses on evaluating improvements that aim to accommodate pedestrian and bicycle activity, improve the connection between the mainline and the coastal non-motorized networks, and improve safety conditions. Transportation projects like this one go through several key phases: planning, PD&E study, design, right-of-way acquisition, construction, and then ongoing maintenance. Right now, we're in the PD&E phase. During this phase, we will evaluate social, economic, and environmental effects associated with the proposed transportation improvements, while meeting the project's purpose and need. This phase is needed to evaluate project feasibility, meet state and federal requirements, and secure federal regulatory approval and federal funding. Once the PD&E study is complete, the project will move into the design phase, followed by right-of-way acquisition if needed, and then construction once funding is secured. A PD&E study starts with gathering data and evaluating engineering and environmental existing conditions. From there, we will begin the alternative analysis process, where we evaluate previous planning alternatives and new alternatives and document the engineering and environmental analysis. This will be presented to the public at the Alternative Public Information Meeting, which then follows to the formal public hearing, where we present the selected preferred alternative to the public. Continuous public involvement plays a major role in this PD&E study. Your feedback helps shape the direction of the project and supports the final recommendations. We welcome your comments and questions at any point during the PD&E. We have divided the project into two segments due to several constraints throughout the project limits. Segment 1, shown in green, runs from Biscayne Boulevard to West Country Club Drive, where the Causeway is at grade. Segment 2, shown in blue, crosses the Intracoastal Waterway and has several challenges. These include nearby homes, residential and commercial buildings, parking garages, and areas being utilized under the bridges. These constraints will be important considerations as we develop and evaluate alternatives. Within the project limits, there are challenges when it comes to connections for pedestrians, bicyclists, and other non-motorized users. There is no bike or pedestrian connection between US 1 Biscayne Boulevard and West Country Club Drive, as shown by the blue solid line on the map. There's no pedestrian access from West Country Club Drive to State Road A1A Collins Avenue, as shown by the dashed orange line on the map. These gaps limit safe and efficient travel for pedestrians and bicyclists and highlights the need for improved infrastructure to support multimodal transportation. An important component of this PD&E study is determining how to accommodate a pedestrian bicycle facility over the Intracoastal Waterway, which is a designated navigable channel. The existing bridge over the Intracoastal has the following characteristics: a vertical clearance of 65 feet and a horizontal clearance of 90 feet. A fender system that protects the structure. It is in a marine environment with exposure to salt water and weather conditions. And while it currently has striped bicycle lanes on the outside shoulders, there are no sidewalks and pedestrians are currently prohibited from using the causeway. The engineering analysis will focus on several key components. As part of the alternative analysis, we will evaluate several improvements that meet the project's purpose and need. Input from the public, along with feedback from federal, state, and local agencies, will play a key role in developing these improvements. The no action or no build alternative is one where no improvements are made. This alternative will remain throughout the study and serve as the baseline for comparison of other build alternatives. The Transportation System Management and Operations, or TSMO alternative, will explore operational strategies aimed at preserving roadway capacity, improving safety and reliability, and minimizing environmental impacts. The preliminary evaluation alternatives will revisit and build upon ideas from previous planning studies. New build alternatives will focus on adding a bicycle and pedestrian facility, such as a shared use path, along the north side, south side, or within the median of the causeway. All findings will be documented in reports and technical memos, which will be made available later in the PD&E study. Alternatives will be evaluated for its potential effects on social, cultural, natural, and physical environments, with the primary goal of avoiding or minimizing impacts to those valuable resources. The results of these analyses will be documented in reports, which will be made available later in the PD&E study. Public outreach is a major component of this PD&E study. William Lehman Causeway is an important connection between the mainland and the coast, and it is important that we hear from the people who use it every day. We'll be holding several meetings to keep the community, stakeholders, elected officials, and agency partners involved and informed every step of the way. As part of our outreach efforts, we'll be forming a project advisory group, or a PAG. This group will include community members who can help represent local voices and priorities. The PD&E study kicked off in January of 2025 and is expected to be completed by the winter of 2027. Once the PD&E phase is complete, the preferred alternative will move into the design phase, followed by right-of-way acquisition if necessary, and then construction pending funding availability. Please note that this schedule may change as the project progresses. In addition to today's kickoff meetings, there will be several future opportunities for public engagement, including an alternatives public information meeting scheduled for the summer of 2026, a formal public hearing scheduled for summer of 2027, and other engagement opportunities that will be held throughout the PD&E study. We encourage your continued participation, as public involvement is essential to the success of this PD&E study, and your input is a vital part of that process. Please visit the project website for the latest updates on the study, including details on upcoming events and meetings.
Right, so this concludes our presentation. We'll now begin our Q&A portion of today's meeting. We'll start by addressing written comments and questions that were submitted through the Q&A panel. After that, we'll have an opportunity for both virtual and in-person attendees to make a verbal comment. We appreciate the questions that have already been submitted, and we encourage anyone who hasn't submitted a question to do so now, and we'll do our best to respond as time allows. Please know that we may group similar questions to streamline the responses, and if we are unable to respond to any questions tonight, we'll follow up after the meeting. I will now hand it off to Lindsay if there's any online questions. Okay, so we don't have any just yet. Thank you, Lindsay. So anybody who's joining us virtually who would like to speak, please use the raise hand feature and we'll call upon participants in the order they are received. Once it's your turn, please unmute yourself so you could speak. And please remember to state your name before making your comment and be mindful of the time so that we could give all the participants time to have to provide their own comments. Lindsay, is there anybody who would like to make a verbal comment? Okay, so we do not have a raise hand feature, but we do have an online comment.
Jennifer online has said that this project is a long time coming and she has lived in SIB since 1994 and wonder why it has taken so long.
Yes, there is a long history with this project dating back all the way to 2012. And the goal is to finalize this PD&E with a preferred alternative that moves into design. So schedule is on the boards, is on the website as well. We're trying to finalize this PD&E by the end of 2027. And there are currently funds available for design starting in 2028.
Holly J asks, is funding provided by federal, state, and local governments?
As of right now, there's federal funds for this PD&E study, and there are federal funds allocated for design in 2028. There are no funds allocated as of today for construction.
Ophelia asks, do you have any render?
We don't have any renderings right now of alternatives. Right now, we're in the beginning of the PD&E stage that just started in January. We're in the existing conditions analysis, where we collect all the information from both the engineering and environmental side, do an analysis of the existing conditions, and then from there, now our next step is to do alternatives to determine where best this new path is going to be located. So there's no renderings at this moment.
Okay, we have a hand raised from Natalie Middleman. Natalie, I'm going to go ahead and allow your microphone. So if you'll unmute yourself, we should be able to hear your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, hi. I'm very sorry I joined 10 minutes later, so maybe you already said that, but I'm wondering, like, practical question. When this project gonna go on, I live right under the bridge. Is it gonna create a lot of noise or dirt?
So as part of the construction, where the shared use path is going to be located is still to be determined. It could be on the north side, it could be on the south side. During construction, we will make sure to have a proper plan to notify the public on when construction activities are going to be happening. Any detours or any times that there is going to be construction will be mentioned to the public, in particular the public that's immediately impacted with the construction phases.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
We have another hand raised from Joseph Campisi. I'm going to go ahead and allow your microphone so you can go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Hi, all. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Sir.
Awesome, great. Thank you very much for this presentation. I love the idea. I'm just wondering if it's possible to maybe add a slight addition to this project plan where I believe we need some kind of barrier between the West and East Country Club Drive on the Don Sofer exercise trail, because I know there's a lot of avid people running, biking, and a simple guardrail along that service access road next to the William Lehman Causeway Bridge would be greatly protect the pedestrians walking in that area. I'm wondering if that could be maybe attached to this project as like an aside. Just a simple guardrail would protect anyone from, I don't know if anybody knows, a few years ago when a car lost control and crashed into the fence of the Turnberry Golf Course. So just want to know if just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you for your feedback, and you're absolutely right. That area, which is the frontage road to the limited access facility, that's right next to the Don Sulphur Trail, is part of the project limits. So we'll include those frontage roads when it comes to our traffic analysis, our safety analysis. We'll review safety conditions in that area as well, as well as the entire length of the limited access facility. So all that area is within the project limits that we're going to be analyzing. So we will take your comment into account. We will look at existing conditions and how the new proposed alternatives will be impacting that area as well. And we'll consider how we can resolve some of these issues.
Great, thank you.
Joey is asking, are we having another call to be presented on the proposed changes to be implemented?
Yes. So in one of the slides here in the presentation, which is going to be on the project website as well, you're going to see the schedule for this PD&E. One of the next major public information meeting is going to be the alternative public information meeting, which is tentatively scheduled right now for the summer of 2026, next year. So in that meeting, we will present all the different alternatives that we have come up with, receive feedback from the public, and then from there, we'll keep moving forward with the PD&E study to the public hearing that's scheduled for the summer of 2027, where we will show you the selected alternative that's moving forward. And then from there, we could complete the PD&E at the end of 2027, which leads us into the design of the facility.
And we have a hand raised from Jennifer. Jennifer, I'm going to enable your microphone now, so you should be able to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. I was curious. I'm the one who said before, made the statement that this was a long time coming, and I have thought about this for years. And if I'm comparing William Lehman Causeway to other bridges, say the one on Sunny Isles Boulevard, there is a barrier set up between the roadway and the railing of the bridge. Without taking a measuring tape, is there any reason why that could potentially not be a large enough space as it is to allow just simply putting up a divider to protect pedestrians and bicyclists and people on scooters who are also going over the bridge? Um, I would imagine that it might be cost prohibitive to try and extend the side of the bridge, make Lehman Causeway wider in order to accommodate this. But I'm not so sure that would be necessary. And you may or may not know that by right now. And also, as to the right-of-way acquisition, what right-of-way would need to be acquired, because doesn't FDOT own the entire bridge from side to side?
So great questions. To answer the first question, as I mentioned, there's been a long history with this project. DOT, the Miami-Dade TPO, has looked at this corridor for a long time. There have been previous alternatives that have looked at what you're recalling, Jennifer, it's called the lane repurposing, where you're using the existing facility to accommodate the protected shared use path. However,
Right.
that would require either removing existing travel lanes or reducing shoulder widths, or pretty much reducing your typical section that you have currently on the Causeway.
Mhm.
The issue with that is this is a limited access facility, and on top of that is an emergency evacuation route as well. So lane repurposing is not the ideal condition for this corridor, in particular that our lane repurposing guidelines do not allow any reduction of lanes for a limited access facility.
Mhm.
So we will, as part of the PD&E study, document all this and give you the details exactly of what's moving forward. So to answer your question, Jennifer, we are taking a look at that alternative, but we're also going to be looking at different alternatives of either widening the existing bridge to accommodate that shared use path, barrier separated most likely, or provide a separate bridge, standalone bridge for the shared use path. So those are the different alternatives that we'll be looking at as part of the alternative analysis process.
Oh, I
But-
will say that I think, people have walked over it for decades. They ride their bicycles over. Now it's permitted, but people have been doing it anyway. People are on their scooters. And I had to walk over it once many years ago before the bicycles were permitted and the barrier was lower. And I never did it again. People do it all the time, but I just did not feel comfortable up there. And so people are going to do it. And the Orthodox use it on the holidays, and I'm sure tourists use it. And then of course the people who exercise use it. And then we just need it. We don't have anything up here, you know? So that's what I want to say. And you know what I would really like to see that probably is not inside your domain, and I don't even know how realistic it would be. I'd like to be able to see a way to get across the intercoastal from Sunny Isles Beach to Aventura around the Lehman Causeway or maybe under it to cut out. I mean, why not that? Why can't you do something just right over the waterway? I don't know if there's any land that could be taken on either side to permit that, and I don't even know if that's a solution. I was thinking maybe have a little raft or have a little, cottage industry of people that could just take people across on a little boat. But that's just been a thought of mine.
I am definitely, Jennifer, going to call you and pick your brain because you have great ideas. You definitely have great
Okay.
ideas. And just
Okay.
so you understand the challenges, I mean, we are going over the intercoastal. It's a navigable channel that requires a 65-foot clearance. So we do need to maintain the navigable channel. So we have to go over the intercoastal by 65 feet. Just like the
Right.
existing bridge right now is 65 feet for clearance. So that's one of the
Right.
major challenges there. To your point about adding a separate facility, let's say parallel to the existing limited access facility, those are options that we will be looking at. There is some space to be able to provide a separate structure. So we will be looking at those alternatives as well.
Okay.
When it comes to answer your right-of-way question that I never had a chance to answer, there
Right.
are some limited access. There is some limited right-of-way within the areas underneath the bridge right now. And as everybody here in the meeting that has spoken with that lives in this area understands that you have buildings, you have residences, you have parking garages abutting the limited access facility. So there's a challenge to accommodate any kind of improvement within the north side or the south side. On top of
Okay.
that, the areas underneath the bridge are currently being used. We have
Yeah.
dog parks in there. We have basketball courts, parking, public parking. We have the Sunny Isles Beach Public Works using that area as well. So I don't think there's one space underneath the bridge that is not being used. So those are the challenges. Those are the challenges that we need to go through the PD&E, where there could be potential right-of-way impacts. But we'll definitely share these details once we actually lay out alternatives and know exact footprints or where we could show you what alternatives we're looking at. And then from there, we could have further discussions on potential right-of-way impacts.
Okay. If I'm seriously, if you want to call me, feel free to do so. I guess you have my number. So.
Definitely. I'm definitely going to pick your brain. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. No problem. Who is this?
I'm sorry. This is Robert Gutierrez, and I'm the consultant project manager.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay.
We have another hand raised from Jorge. Jorge, I'm going to go ahead and allow your microphone so you can unmute yourself.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for this presentation. I think this is a great idea. I too have been waiting a long time for this. So my question is, when you're planning to create this path, this pedestrian or bike path that we're putting in, are there going to be any restrictions on the type of, for example, vehicles you can put on this path? I know a lot of people are riding scooters and bikes, and now in modern times, you also have e-scooters and e-bikes. Hopefully, there will be no restrictions on those kind of vehicles. Do you have any comment about that?
That's a great question. So we have two different type of, let's talk about scooters. We have two different types of scooters. We have the electric scooters that technically they're going faster than 20 miles per hour, which are allowed in Florida to utilize bike paths, shoulders, wherever a bicycle can go. Those type of scooters, electric scooters can go. But then you have the different type of scooters that are mopeds that go over 25, 30 miles an hour. Typically, they run on gas or have a motor with those scooters. Those technically need to follow the law of a regular vehicle, and they need to utilize travel lanes when they're traveling from one point to the other. They shouldn't be using the shoulders, and they shouldn't be using any kind of shared use path or bike path or pedestrian path. So those are the things that will be taken into account in this PD&E study. The proposed shared use path is for pedestrians and bicyclists, and let's include the electric scooters in there as well. It is not meant for vehicles. It is not meant for any kind of gas-powered scooter or mopeds or anything of that sort. It is strictly going to be for pedestrian and bicyclists and electric scooters as well.
And to clarify, electric bikes as well, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
And this,
have an electric bike that goes 50 miles an hour.
right? No, there's level. I believe that the bike classifications are level 1, level 2, level 3. I think.
Correct.
So I assume it'll be level 1 and 2 that will be allowed.
Yes, sir. We can
Okay.
verify that information as well. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have another question from Ophelia. Can you provide some temporary protection for the bike riders until the project is done?
So part of our existing conditions does take into account in addressing any short-term solutions for the PD&E. So that is something that we will discuss with the department and obviously with the public as well once we finalize our existing condition analysis and we decide exactly how we'll move forward with the alternatives. But short-term solutions are something that we consider as part of the PD&E.
Okay, so sure. Well, now the in-person attendees, if you have any questions, please come to the microphone.
Direction of the on the sidewalk at 30 and 40 miles an hour. It's insane. It's just insane. They emerge and it's still bus stops like they were shot at a cannon. The kid lost control, shaking like this. They cannot control sheer speed makes it feel like they're empowered, like they're invincible. Everything has to just get out of their way. Now I've seen them. You know where the service road. Goes past. First it faces east. Go under the causeway in a U-turn, back when you're going west towards the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
They come out in the opposite direction of traffic on the bike lane, and they emerge from under the causeway where it's dark. And if you're running your car, you're going in one direction, all of a sudden you see them coming out of the dark from under the causeway. It's insanity. And I've seen 3 in a row. Zip, zip, zip. Come out from the dark in the opposite direction. That's something. Anesthesiology news. January 20. Some of the things I just said were in that article. Anesthesia. Country walk. How much propofol is being administered, procedures caused by these things. They have to go in one direction with the traffic. They can't go opposite. Plain and simple. I have pictures of black and blue all over the whole side of my body. And I was out of commission once.
Get that.
Right in front of the senior living, right at the entrance there. He came from the bus stop.
Can you provide your name? I'm sorry.
You expect a gas-powered vehicle, micro vehicle, or scooter, or anything, coming at you on the sidewalk? What's the difference? It's gas-powered or electric-powered? No difference. Signs have to be put up. Signs have to be put up so that the kids do not go opposite the direction of chasing traffic. And you have to word it the right way. Angry because I did have a serious injury from them. And I have to tell you, the area I'm talking about, I did the math on it. I entered onto the bike lane from the sidewalk in front of the living 5,000 times. They can't control it. They don't have, it's like giving a motorcycle to an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old. So it's not 700 pounds coming at you, it's 90 pounds coming at you, with the kid and the electric scooter. It's still something coming at you at that speed. Signs have to go up. The kids cannot go opposite the direction.
You're absolutely right, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that experience. So, as part of the PD&E, a major component is signage, like you're saying. It's lighting, it's accommodating direction when it comes to this type of multimodal. Signage is right. I mean, and to add to your response is the shared use path is meant to be wide enough to provide several users. So that is the goal as well for this new facility, is to be wide enough so you can have a ped, a bicyclist using it at the same time. So that would alleviate some of the issues. You're right. Direction of travel is also going to be part of the solution here, and it's going to be implemented through signage and through other methods as well to make sure that everybody goes in the right direction. But
Sorry.
Really quick, can
Yeah.
you come up to the mic so the people virtually could hear you?
Yeah, the
That'd be great.
people actually can't
So
hear the comment.
What the city is in the process of doing is looking at different options for actually passing an ordinance to not allow the scooters on the Don Soper path. Because I agree with you 100%, it's extremely dangerous. But we have no way to conduct any type of enforcement unless they're not wearing a helmet or there's two to a scooter. Because they, like he said, in 2019, the governor designated bicycles and scooters under the same designation. So unfortunately, there is the legislation hasn't caught up with the technology of these new scooters. So there is no direct laws where I can ride a scooter for a scooter on a sidewalk or whatever passes, whatever different laws. They have to follow under a guideline. Sometimes when you go to court, a judge, I'll write a ticket to somebody on a scooter for whatever reason. I write him under a bicycle statute. The judge will be like, he wasn't on a bicycle, he was on a scooter. The statute is designated for a bicycle. And I'll be like, and I try to explain to them, like, well, they are under the same classification as a scooter or as a bicycle. Dismissed. And then I'll explain it again to another judge and be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Guilty. It all depends on who you get. But the city is taking a proactive approach into looking at banning them, period, from the Don Sofer pathway, making it a city ordinance. So we'd be able to stop them and cite them under a city municipal violation. Yeah, because we've had tons of accidents. Yes. And the Don Sofer path is actually a city-owned park. It's not a sidewalk that's maintained by the county. It's actually a city park. So we can ban anyone from the park under the city's, jurisdiction. Yes. Yes, but so since the beginning of the year, we've done 3 different scooter campaigns. I'm the one who set up those signs that you were just talking about in front of the V. But we have to move them to use them for other events, other things, because we only have a limited amount of them. So since the beginning of January, we've already had 3 scooter campaigns where I think we've issued over 300 tickets to kids under the age of 15 or their parents once they come for authorizing them not to, allowing them not to drive or drive the scooter without a helmet. Different rules like that. So we yes.
That's the danger because they're coming out at full speed.
I agree with you 100%. But our hands are tied in a lot of different ways when it comes to enforcement. The only way we can really do anything about it is when they're, unfortunately, with the helmets, two to a scooter, and they're running red lights, stop signs. Because when they're on a sidewalk, they're considered a pedestrian. When they are on the public right of way in a bike lane, they're a vehicle. We could take enforcement action on that. Correct, but I agree 100%. But unfortunately, there is no city ordinance that says scooters have to be on the right side, bicycles have to be on the left. There has to be written municipal ordinances to take any type of enforcement. Because other than that, if you put up a sign, it's a sign without any backing. It's just a sign like a no fishing sign on 213th Street. There's nothing in our ordinance that say you can't fish. They just put up a sign that says you did it. So if that person tells you, no, I'm not going to do it, then you can't do anything about it. It's why it's important to go to the city hearings, to voice your concern about stuff like that, because they'll do whatever they can to usually to accommodate you.
Sure.
Let me. So if there's anybody else in person who would like to speak, please come up to the microphone and then we'll continue with some questions that we've received online.
And please state your name.
Hi, my name is Shelly Harar. I have one question. I know this project or this study has just started, but how will you accommodate the people that will go east and west, since there are 2 different paths for each direction? For example, going east, the William Causeway will turn right. Will the people will have to walk all that part of the bridge to go to something else, or what will be the approach?
So as part of our alternative analysis, looking at alternatives to accommodate the path either on the north and south side or both sides. That is part of the alternative analysis process. Whichever side the path is going to be, the challenge is going to be where we land. Right? We still have to go there over the intracoastal. We still have to travel that distance to go over the intracoastal. So once we land, is exactly the challenge of how we get pedestrians to go from one side to the other. So for example, let's say we provide a path on the south side that's wide enough to provide the demand for ped and bicyclists to travel in both directions, right? If you're on the south side, but you want to reach the north side, let's say you want to go to the Don Sulphur Trail, you want to connect, you would have to use the frontage road that goes underneath the bridge to be able to access the north side, which is a little bit longer distance, but it's a safe travel for ped and bicyclists to use that direction. Same thing on the north side. If you landed on the north side, close to the Don Sulphur Trail, and those that live on Mystic Point and want to go to the south, they got to travel that distance as well, go through the frontage road, go underneath the bridge, and be able to access the south. So you have the same challenge on both sides. You have the same challenge of the safest way to get from one point to the other is to land, and if you need to go in the opposite direction, you need to go underneath the bridge through the frontage road to be able to access the other side. So those are the details we'll be looking at. Same thing happens on the A1A side, right? Where we land, there's existing trails right now underneath the bridge. So the goal is to connect to that existing infrastructure. That way we have a direct connection for ped and bicyclists.
And a follow-up question. Did you say before that the part under the bridge is also part of this project? The U-turn?
Correct. The frontage road, yes.
And are you planning to do like a pedestrian path also in there?
If it leads to the new facility, yes.
Okay.
We'll make sure to, wherever the new facility is, we'll make sure there's access from both the north and south side.
Okay. I think as part of like a lot of people that, as someone said in there, I'm Jewish and I usually walk there. It's very difficult sometimes just to go around the whole, like the other way, just to cross the road. And sometimes I see, if I want the safe way, I will do it. But sometimes I see a lot of people going the other way around. So I think that should be considered.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Mark Itzkoff. I thank you for the opportunity for this hearing. I'm present here for two reasons, I suppose. Firstly, as a resident of Mystic Point, whatever future plans you have for the work that you're describing here tonight, please just take noise abatement into big consideration, because living at Mystic Point, townhouses in particular, or anybody in Mystic Point, or anybody in the park, or anybody nearby, you hear the sports cars, you hear the loud motorcycles, you hear drag racing going on at all hours of the night. So it can be quite a nuisance. So please, whatever I might be able to do in regards to that. Secondly, perhaps even more importantly, I'm also here as a congregant of the synagogue that's under the Lehman, the Safra Synagogue. And we've already had some discussions going back to January of 2024. We met with some FDOT representatives. I was just checking my old emails, and the spokesperson for that group that met with us, her name was Stacy Miller, and we had some emails back and forth, which did ultimately result in a feasibility analysis. I'm happy to forward that to your project manager, just to get into the record. So there was a proposed solution. We carried that forward to, because we were advised that that would need funding. So we approached our elected representative, Senator Pizzo, spoke with representatives from his office, supposedly to help get that budgeted figure into the legislative session that just took place. I guess it's finished by now, so we don't know if that ever came to fruition. However, we had now learned about this project, so we can just hope and ask and reiterate, for obvious reasons in today's day and age, the important need to take security into consideration. Where we are, we have had in the past documented incidences of things being thrown over the Lehman Causeway, ending up on our property. It's been innocuous enough, but who knows what can happen. So we're happy to be involved with whatever planning you may have for that as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. And yes, we spoke a little bit earlier in the beginning of the meeting about this, and We are aware of those conversations with Steve Miller, our former director of D6. We are aware of the feasibility studies that have been done. As I mentioned, there's a long history with this project, so we have a hold of all these reports and feasibility studies that have been done. We're aware of people throwing things over the shoulder, the barriers, and landing underneath the bridge. So we'll take all that into account. There's ways to minimize those impacts. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just forgot to ask a question. Given the timeline for the project, and the bureaucracy and whatever may take place, it's a few years off. Would you advise us to maybe perhaps try to continue those discussions that we started last year? Is it worth it? Would you foresee doing one thing and then just having a bigger project coming, or should we just forget about what we've discussed in the past?
So this is a federally funded project. So our funds available have been designated for this PD&E study. There's already federal funds allocated for design as well. So we have to follow this process due to state and federal laws. But as I mentioned, part of the PD&E, what we're doing now, does include potential short-term solutions until we finally get to that selected alternative that gets designed and then built. So we can come back to the public to see what we can do. That takes a lot of coordination with the department. This is a state road. It takes coordination with the city as well.
Yeah.
Both cities of Aventura and Sunny Isles Beach. So it's not as easy as saying we could have a short-term solution in a month. But we understand the need here. I mean, not just from your side, but from everybody's side. There's a safety concern in this facility when it comes to pedestrians and bicyclists and non-motorized users. And we want to get to that solution as soon as possible. So we'll come back to the public. We'll look at different alternatives. We'll look at the potential short-term solutions. We'll coordinate that with the department and the cities. We can move forward from that direction.
Okay. Is there anybody else in person who would like to make a comment or have a question?
So I spoke with my city about a little bit better signage, but we can't obviously implement signs on the William Lehman Causeway. The city's become extremely diverse over the past 20 years, and we have people who speak languages from all over the place. We conduct heavy traffic enforcement on the William Lehman Causeway for speeding, bicycles on a limited access highway, the scooters. Still, we usually write up tickets, but a majority of the people that we pull over, I didn't see the sign, or they can't read English. So what I tried to recommend to the city was actual signs, like a no smoking sign. So the people that can't read English, it's a posted signs, just like a scooter, a stand-up scooter with a circle through it, line, pedestrian, circle, line. So they're like, oh, okay, let me turn around because they can't read the sign. So that's my only recommendation for the signage until obviously the completion of this project or whatever, if you do the no build order. I think it would save lives.
That's an excellent point. Take it into consideration.
My name is Lori Kinney. My question is, would the path be able to use at any time during the day? Would it be lit at night? That's probably design phase. I don't know.
I mean, the path should be open 24 hours a day. I mean, at night, we'll potentially have some lighting solutions for the Charities path, in particular that you're going 65 feet in the air to go over the intercoastal. So lighting is essential as well. We could look at fencing as an introduction as well to support the issues that we have with people throwing things over the intercoastal. So we'll take a look at all those solutions.
Yeah, like a fence like that.
There's different type of fencings that can
Right.
be provided for that type of facility.
And the signs that he mentioned is like international signs. Is
Correct.
what he,
Correct. Yes.
Do you mind coming to the microphone?
So they could hear you virtually.
I mean, just.
So we have virtual attendance. That's why we want them to hear you.
Okay. In the past, I have filled out the DOT comment submittal form.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, where the William Lehman Service Road turns again under the causeway. On the very far right side where the mangroves are, it was not swept properly. And it would accumulate so that it would just come up to your ankles practically, the debris from the mangrove trees. And I sent comment submittal after comment submittal, and what they would do is they would notify the local cleaning crew. I don't know if it's farmed out to taking care of it by a local crew or not, but they were not taking care of it. And one comment submittal form after another I was sending into them, describing specifically where they have to clean. I even met with the crew and the head of our homeowners association in Mystic Point 600, the head of maintenance, and we all met with the crew in there, and they didn't even know where to clean. When I told them the right side, they were cleaning the right side of the inner part of the service road. And I even said to them, "What are you doing? You're in the wrong spot. The very far right side, not the right side of the left side." I didn't know how to be more clear. And it seemed that the crew was belligerent. They didn't want to clean it. And only recently, in these last few months, did I notice that it's being maintained much, much better than it was in the past. Can you tell me what has changed? And I'm going back several years now, and until this year, where I noticed that it's clean enough to ride on, to walk on. So what has changed? And also, while I'm at it, what is the schedule for them cleaning? And if they don't, is there a number that I can call? And also, what's the schedule for the pruning of the mangroves, which I believe is God's gift to the shoreline? I honestly do. But they need to be clipped overhead where cars and cyclists and pedestrians are going. So, and they have licensed mangrove cutters, okay, trimmers. What's the schedule for the mangrove trimming? What's the schedule for the sweeping on the corridor that I'm talking about now?
Great questions. So unfortunately, I can't give you the exact schedule of our maintenance department, but that is something that we can coordinate with DOT, and we could follow up with you to answer all your questions when it comes to the maintenance of that frontage road in particular that frontage road that goes underneath the causeway. So we could get back to you with to be able to answer all those questions from our maintenance department.
Hello, my name's Dave Sanchez. I have a couple questions, like, for example, the speed limits. How will they be changed in the causeway? Will they be increased? Will they be, for example, unified, since it's kind of looks weird with the signs where it goes 45 to 50 to 45? So what would that be?
So keep in mind that this PD&E study is focused on providing a ped and bicyclist solution. So this is not a capacity project, meaning that we're not going to add additional lanes to the limited access facility or anything of that sort. As part of our assessing conditions, we are looking at the current design speed, which is 55. The posted speed, like you're saying, it changes from 45 to 55. As of right now, those are not changes to be expected to change as part of this PD&E, since the shared use path is going to be barrier separated. So it's going to be a safer solution for pedestrians and bicyclists. So, but we'll definitely still look at the existing conditions and see what can be done with the posted speed as well.
Okay. My next one is, for example, when the pathways will be created, the pedestrians, bicyclists pathways, is there an idea or is part of the plan to create overhead shade, because it's really hot here and the benefit with shade having when walking on that bridge? So is that in the plans?
It is part of our alternative analysis. We'll look at different components when it comes to shading, when it comes to lighting, when it comes to fencing, and every aspect of that sort. We'll be taking a look at that as part of the alternative analysis.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Is the project also working? I don't know the exact name of the bridge, but the bridge that's near Aventura Mall, the Lehman Causeway, and there's a road.
Yes.
Yeah. Does the project also work under that bridge, and doing some improvements to pedestrian walkways, or no?
So yes, if you remember segment one, which is from the beginning of the project at US 1 to West Country Club Drive, in that area where Aventura Mall is, the goal is to have that shared use path at grade, meaning on the ground, which will connect to the existing Don Sulphur Trail. Regardless if it comes to our north or south, we'll be able to connect it underneath that bridge that you're mentioning right now within that area. There is no, we don't see any need to do any kind of widening or any new structure going over West Country Club Drive, but we will have connectivity with whatever alternative comes up in that segment one.
Okay. What is it? Are there any other similar projects to this that have it completed or they have completed or are still in progress that one can compare with?
So, I mean, DOT has several bridge replacement projects that do include adding a pedestrian and bicycle facility as part of the new bridge that's being constructed. Also, I-95 Julia Tuttle is currently doing another PD&E that's looking at a ped and bike connectivity from downtown area all the way to Miami Beach. So that will be some similar projects associated with adding that bike and ped connectivity.
And last one, the cost breakdown. Now, it's stated that PD already has it budgeted, but I'm a bit confused on what exactly that means, if the money's already available.
So we have funds available to perform this PD&E study all the way to the end, till December of 2027. And there's funds allocated for the next phase, which is design. So what that means is once we finish this PD&E, which is already funded, we will have a selected alternative that moves into design. And there's funds available for DOT to do that design of that facility. Currently do not have funds for the remainder phases of construction. So the more we move forward with this PD&E and the design, DOT will do its part in finding that additional funding for the next phases.
And how much are those funds?
It ranges and it changes.
Oh, no, I mean like the current budgeted funds.
So the current budgeted funds for this PD&E is approximately $2.4 million.
Okay.
And then design is still up in the air, depending on what alternative moves forward.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Is there anybody else in person who would like to provide a comment or a question? No? Okay, I know we have some additional comments online. Lindsay?
Joseph Campisi says, maybe you can include temporary protection for the Don Sofer exercise trail between East-West Country Club Drive as well, and thank you for researching.
Thank you for the comment. We'll take a look at that.
And James Kellogg says, the Cooper River Bridge in Charleston, South Carolina has an excellent wide path for jogging, walking, and bicyclists. It might be worth looking at.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any additional questions from our virtual attendees or anybody in person? Okay. So it seems like we don't have any additional comments, so we will conclude our comment portion of tonight's meeting. As we wrap up the meeting, I'd like to emphasize the importance of motorcycle safety awareness. It's crucial that we consider the needs of motorcyclists to help reduce accidents and improve safety for everyone. We kindly remind all participants to take a moment and fill out our shared use path survey. If you haven't already, I know there's a lot of great suggestions that have come out from the meeting today. So please make sure to fill out that survey so we get your feedback on this project. You can also provide your input by scanning the QR code that is on the slide right now or by following the link. If you're attending in person, please ask a team member for a printed survey. Your input is valuable and will help guide the development for this project. On behalf of the entire project team, thank you for taking the time to attend tonight's meeting, and we look forward to keeping you informed as the project progresses. Thank you and have a good evening. Oh, no. For those who are attending virtually, we will be on until 7:30, as well as those who are here in person. If you have any additional comments or questions, please provide those and our team will answer them. Thank you.